Alright, let's get started. Welcome back, I'm Grandpa, and I'm here to play Valheim. So let's start the game. We're going to continue with Conrad. We're going to continue in Terra Conrad. So picking up where we left off, we had just created our first shelter and gone through our first night. Let's go ahead and look at cooking some food. So we want to bring up our hammer, go to the crafting menu. We're going to build a cooking station. Put this over the fire, and now we're able to craft. We're able to cook. So we've got two different kinds of meat here. This game is going to automatically pick which meat we cook. So let's put it on the spit by pointing at the spit and say cook item. We could put the meat up here in a numbered slot and then tell it which one that we wanted. So while this is cooking, we're just going to wait for it to finish cooking. This is going to give us a high health food source that we can eat to improve our overall health. We hear that sound, we know it's done. We hit E to take it off, and we've got some cooked boar meat. Hitting number 5, we can add boar meat. Hitting number 4, we add the neck meat. And while we're waiting, I'm going to right click on this food to eat it. The other thing we could do is we can put it up here in a numbered slot, and then we can just hit that number when we eat it. We can, let's pick that up. Let's cook the last of our food with 4 and 5. And let's put this up here. So we're able to consume 3 foods. We can consume 3 different kinds, like we have here, which we currently have boar meat, a mushroom, and a raspberry. That gives us a red, a white, and a yellow. But we could also do 2 reds and a yellow, or 2 yellows, or 2 whites. We can mix it up any way we want. We can do all 3, and that's how you manage your mix between stamina and health. And then, well, we'll get into that later. That's a bit of a spoiler. I don't really want to spend a lot of time on spoilers. I'm not promising that I won't create some spoilers, but I'm going to try to avoid them whenever I can. Alright, now we're going to want that beehive. For now, let's just leave it here. And today our goal is going to be discovery. We want to see what we can discover on the map. Hopefully we can find a little better shelter. It'd be great if we could find the edge of the Black Forest, and we'll look for a more permanent place for our home base. Right now, we'll just keep coming back to this bed icon for our home base, unless we get too far away, in which case we'll just make a new shelter. So for now, we just want to look around, see what we can find. We've encountered 2 of the creatures of the Meadows. We've seen the 3rd creature, the deer. Don't remember off the top of my head how many there are. That's the main ones that I can think of, is the graylings and the neck and the deer. And we're going to harvest those for resources. So we want deer for their meat, and the leather armor, which is a little better than the armor that we get from the boar, we can create some armor with that boar leather, similar to what we have on now. We're currently wearing the boar armor tunic. We can make legs and a hood if we get enough armor. Alright, I'm gonna hit R, access my weapon, come up behind him, and take him out. I'm gonna gather as many of these raspberries as I can. Raspberries. I'm gonna call them raspberries. Can't help it. But they are called raspberries. Now, if we wanted to know where this nice large group of raspberry is, we could mark our map and just drop a spot there, and we'll put a RB for raspberry. Now, if we need more raspberries, we can just come back. Looks like we're going in circles here. We're headed back towards where we started. Let's go ahead and proceed with a westward exploration. Now let's see what's out there. That gold arrow in the mini-map, or mini-map up here, that gold arrow points the direction we're heading. We're just going to head that off to the west and try to keep up that direction. Here's some more abandoned structures. Most of the abandoned structures that you find in the meadows are completely harmless. You will run across some, probably not at the beginning, but later in the game, that are a little more dangerous. I'm not going to tell you what that is, unless we encounter one. Don't want to spoil anything for you. I always like to look them over in case there's a chest in there. Chests will often give us some buried treasure. And we also want to keep an eye out for the bees, because we don't want those bees. Alright, we can use that. We've got some gold that'll come in handy later in the game when we find a vendor. We've got some arrows. The arrows will come in real handy once we have created our first bow. And the flint arrow is a little stronger than the initial arrow that we'll be able to build, which is a wood arrow. I like to check these out in case there's some bones here, because bones are kind of hard to come by in the early game, but they are useful for making items such as capes and armor. It's just a good crafting item to have. It's a good supply of bones. Just gonna keep pushing through. God, visibility is really low today. Would be wonderful if we could see a little further. Oh, a little bit about stamina. I like to run as much as I can. It's a good habit to always maintain a certain amount of stamina, just in case you encounter something you need to fight. You don't want to end up completely drained of stamina, and then you need to swing your weapon and you can't swing it. Okay, gonna hit control key to sneak. See if I can sneak up behind this guy, this deer, because we can certainly use that armor. And I'll let my stamina go up. Really wonder why these deer sound like dogs, but hey, that's the way it is. Yeah, my skill's not high enough yet for taking him out. Alright, here's an abandoned village. It's kind of cool. We typically find a boar around here. And this is our first starred creature. Notice how he has that 1 star. That means he's a little bit bigger. More health. Drops more items. Eventually, when we have a base, we can tame those boars, and they will quit attacking us. They'll become friendly. They would fight anything that would fight us, unless it's another boar. But we can raise boars and breed them, and then we have an endless supply of boar meat. Very handy for later game. Alright, what do we got in here? No bees. More treasure. And more flint. And so amber's not good for much of anything other than its monetary value. We can trade it in with the vendor. Don't see any beehives. And we get some more treasure. Now we could drop a... Oh, I see that raspberry flashing 40 counting down here in the corner. That means our food's about to run out. It's time to eat. Let's go ahead and hit 7. And let's hit a 6 to get us another mushroom. Now we're out of mushrooms. We're going to need another food in that slot. So let's put the neck meat in there. So these numbered slots, that's our heart bar. It's our inventory page that we access with the tab key. And anything that we drop in here, we can hit that number to access that item. So we've got 1 for our torch, and then we put it away, and 2 for the hammer, and get it out and put it away, etc. We want to eat the food, we can go 5, 6, or 7. This is not a bad spot to come back to, and we could convert this house. Have to tear down these beds. They're really useless. You can't use them, but they do break down into their resources, and so we can use it to make a new bed after we destroy it. That all would require a crafting table. For now, let's just mark this village on our map. I'm just double click, give it a name, and then we know where to come back to. Let's keep heading west just to see what's out here. So here's a little hint. I'd like to know how late in the day it is. And unless you keep an eye on your rested bonus or your food as a timer, it's hard to know the time of day. But if you look at the sun, you will, and then your mini-map arrow kind of tells you what time it is. So, well, that covers up the mini-map. But starting over here on the right side, what would be 3 o'clock on a clock is the first thing in the morning. Traveling around to 6 o'clock would be noon. And then at 9 o'clock on the map, it would be evening. So if we face the sun, we can tell we're just about midday. We can keep exploring for a while. Then we'll come back here and try to make that house our new shelter. You can read these rune stones to learn a little bit about the lore of the world. Very interesting. I'll leave that to you to read. We'll head on. Like to take those guys out. If we don't, they just follow us around and harass us. They catch us when we haven't eaten, and they can easily kill us. Otherwise, they're pretty easily to deal with. Always want to keep your food. up to speed. I can hear the ocean now. So, oh, and here is another Ether altar. So this is probably going to say exactly the same thing. A hunt his kin. Oh, we can see the other land out there. And if we check our map, now we can see that we've got one ocean here and one ocean here. Kind of getting the boundaries of this first little island that we're on. Could be big, could be small. We don't know till we've ran around the whole thing to find out. Let's get these mushrooms. I'm going to go with the 2 meat thing for now. When that mushroom runs out, we'll double up on meat. And it'll give us a higher health. Okay, feathers. Feathers are something that we're going to collect a lot of because we need them to make arrows like the flint arrow. Any of the better arrows. We can make a basic wood arrow, the weakest in the game. But we'll want to get better arrows later on. And we'll need feathers in order to craft those arrows. There's a 2-star neck. Now, you probably noticed my... oh, and there's our first trophy. So we picked up a neck trophy. Each animal type will drop a trophy. And you can collect those trophies. Some of them are valuable. Some of them, like the neck trophy, I've yet to find a use for. I still hang on to them just in case. Ah, hear that noise? There's another beehive. So we aren't going to want to live in this building. But I can see the light fading. We're going to want to make a shelter here. Sounds like there's a beehive in this building too. Yep, we got another beehive. We're going to come back and collect these beehives. They're very, very helpful. Because we can... they'll make honey for us. We can collect that honey. And it's one of the highest tiered stamina foods for the biome. Got another 1-star boar there. I hadn't mentioned this boar, but you see these little stars coming up. That shows you where resource drops are. Like when an animal dies, it creates resources. Alright, let's probably gonna have to make shelter here. We waited a little late in the day. The sun is practically down. So let's just make a quick shelter. We don't have any rocks. That's a problem. We need stone. And we need 5 stone in order to make a fire. So until we get that 5 stone, we're going to be kind of vulnerable as night comes on and more dangerous creatures come out to attack us. Alright, he'll hit, run away, and come back. And the boar does the same thing. He'll hit and run. Thought there was a stone there, but I guess not. It gets hard to see these stones. Let's use our torch so we can see better. That "you feel cold" means it's now nighttime, and the world gets more aggressive at night. So kind of messed up by not getting a shelter before nightfall. If we could just find some stone and get a fire, we could build a shelter like we did last time. Alright. A good place to find stone is anywhere you see the elevation of the land shift like this. There will typically be some exposed stone. I think that's 5. Yep. Alright, let's just put our fire right here. We're going to switch to our hammer, create a fire. And we need a workbench so that we can build our shelter. We always have to have a workbench to build. Looking for level ground. There we go. Gonna do the same basic shelter that we did last time. Get our snap point by hitting E. And we don't have enough wood. That is not good. We are really unprepared. I heard that snarl in the... Oh, we broke our hammer. No, our axe. We need to eat. Let's do 5 and a 6. That'll give us a higher health bar. As after we've eaten, you can see our health bar start to go up. See how much more building we can do. It's really about the minimum building of a shelter I think you can do. Okay, I'm draining my stamina too much. Something comes up behind me and attacks me. I'm out of stamina. It means I'm dead. You want to know how to build this shelter? You can follow this design. little bit more talked about in the first video. Let's drop our bed in here. We still need wood. It takes 10 wood for a bed, is that right? 8 wood, and we've got 7, so we just need 1 more. And then we should be able to sleep. We're also about to break our club. You see that white bar below the club, or the flashing red bar below the hammer. It means the hammer's broken. The club is about to break. But it's going to get us through the night. Now, that means we lost our... Oh, look at that. There was a house right there. Was that the house with the bees in it? I don't know. Alright, well, that is day 2 in Valheim. And we're going to break our club in this fight. I'm almost sure of it. Which means we'll have to fight by fist. If that happens. Alright. Real quick, one thing we haven't talked about is the workbench. The workbench has to have that's a repair. So we went through and repaired all of our items. You can't repair a torch. Torches burn, and when they're all burned out, they're gone. But we're able to repair our hammer, repair our club, repair... Almost all of our items can be repaired. We can also craft new items at the workbench. So we can make a flint knife. We've got 2 wood, 4 flint, and 2 leather. These are the materials needed. We just click craft. We'd have a flint knife. I'm not crazy about the flint knife. A lot of people like it. It's just not my weapon of choice. I'm going to go with the flint axe. I need to grab just a little more wood, and we'll be ready to do that. So let's craft this. And then we'll wrap it up for this episode. We need to talk about building physics at some point. It's not real important, but it's an interesting topic to know how things work and that. So we can make a rag tunic. We can make rag trousers. That's going to give us 1 more piece of armor. Right now our total armor is 1. So let's make those rag trousers. And I'm going to put them over here just so our armor's all together. I'm going to right click it to put them on. Now we've at least doubled our armor. Let's get rid of these guys. They don't like the fire. That's why they keep running away. We move away from that fire and they'll probably come attack us. Alright. So, let's make this flint axe. That's a nice little upgrade for our weapon. So real quick, a little bit about weapons. Let's put this flint axe up here and put it side by side with our wood one. So we hover over that, and that tells us that it's one-handed. It's crafted by Conrad. Weighs 1.5 stone, pounds, whatever your unit is. Its quality is a 1. We'll talk about quality here in a minute. Its durability is 100%. Like we saw yesterday, it durability goes down as we use it, and then we can repair it if it breaks, or we can repair it whenever we want. It's repaired at a station level of 1, so just a basic workbench will allow us to repair it. But the thing that we really want to look at here is the slash. It has a maximum of 15 damage on slash. With our skill level, we're going to do between 5 and 9 points of damage. Now, if we look at the flint axe, basically it looks all the same all the way down to the slash damage. You notice the flint is an upgrade to the stone axe. The flint axe will do a maximum of 20 damage. With our skill level, that's a 6 to 12. 6 to 12 is a nice little improvement over 5 to 9. Close to the same on the low end, but that's, what, 30% more on the high end? So we can do a lot more damage. Now, next down it says the stamina use. You'll notice we've got stamina use here of 6 and a stamina use here of 6. That's the same. That's really nice to have that same stamina. As we progress and get higher level weapons, that may not always be the case. The block force and parry bonus is nice. So we haven't talked about that, but I've been clicking a 1 to swing the axe. I mean, a left click on the mouse. A right click on the mouse will allow us to block. So I can block an attack, and if I do a good parry block, timing it just right, that will allow us to get the parry bonus of 2x, meaning the next hit that we do, if we do it right away, immediately after the attack, it'll do 2x damage. And it generates a parry adrenaline of 5. That's something that we're going to get into later when we can craft a trinket. Its knockback is 50. Not sure the meaning of that. I'm not going to try to get into it now. Its backstab does 3 times the damage, so backstabs are really handy. We can sneak up behind one of these deer with that 3x damage. We may be able to just drop a deer. Anyway, we're running a little long on this video. Going to try to keep them to a day each. There's a lot I wanted to talk about. We'll wrap here. I'm Grandpa Bud, and thank you for joining us in Grandpa Plays Valheim Solo. Thank you all. Have a good one.